welcome to another episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is the show where we talk about movies, comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, TV. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. Joining me today on this lovely Tuesday morning is Miss Lisa Locke McGahee. Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
All right, everyone. Well, it's almost that time, 2 days till X-Men Apocalypse. Lisa, you getting excited?
I'm not as excited as I should be just because I've not been hearing good things, so... I would be more excited if the early reports from the film were, very encouraging.
Well, I heard it's okay. I've heard good things about it. I've heard... The worst things I've heard about are Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Just that she looks like she's not into the franchise anymore at all. I think it'll still be an enjoyable film. I think, just with most things, you can't just have your expectations that high when you go into it. It's Bryan Singer. It's X-Men. I mean, the Bryan Singer films have been the best X-Men films, I think. So we gotta expect some level of, class and good-natured fun. So I'm not too worried.
Mm-hmm. I'm not worried. I just said I didn't say I was worried. I said I'm not as excited as I thought I would be, considering how much I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I know some people are saying about superhero fatigue as well, because this will be our fourth superhero movie we've gotten this year. With, we just got Civil War, then there was Batman v Superman, there was Deadpool. So I feel like, especially some of the general audience members are getting a little fatigued by all the superhero movies, and there's still more to come throughout the year. So I'm still psyched, of course,
Yeah,
But going through, we'll be watching the X-Men movies, and we're watching the animated series, which, I'm sorry, I hate to disagree. The animated series is way above the actual movies.
Lame.
It is, okay? Just because I grew up on X-Men, so to me, that is so true to the source material. Especially when it comes to, the Dark Phoenix Saga and the Phoenix Saga. It's just so close and just so on the nose.
I just can't get past the look and the music.
The music is the best.
Every time I come home and I hear that, I want to run out of the door.
Oh my gosh, I was exercising, because I got my new playlist for when I exercise, and my superhero playlist, all songs from superhero movies or TV shows. And today I was running along, and then that song came on. I'm like, yeah, it was awesome. It was totally awesome. All right, so sticking with X-Men just for a minute. One of the stories we got is, of course, the film already came out overseas, and it's actually doing really well. We did over $100 million.
What film are you talking about?
X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
I just said we're going to stick with X-Men.
Okay, I didn't hear you say that.
Pay attention,
I
okay?
was confused.
Alma, check your battery. All right? Anyway. But yeah, so the film came out overseas, been doing really well, so people are kind of expecting maybe it'll do pretty well here, although, like I said, some people are iffy. Anyway, so sticking with that, they've been doing interviews, the cast and crew, all that stuff. And of course, people are asking about the next film coming up. So producer Simon Kinberg talked with Entertainment Weekly about the possibility of doing the Dark Phoenix Saga again. Now, the Dark Phoenix Saga, being the most infamous X-Men storyline, was loosely done in X-Men The Last Stand, the 2006 film. The film, however, was regarded as fans, especially this fan, and critics, as taking too many liberties with the 1980 storyline. But since then, Kinberg has said that, quote, I definitely would like to take another stab at the Dark Phoenix Saga. So in that regard, other people, as well as director Bryan Singer, and even the actress who plays Jean Grey, Sophie Turner, kind of commented on as well. Sophie Turner's talking to Entertainment Weekly saying, quote, the seeds of Phoenix definitely are planted in there. She can't control her powers unless she either fully stops them or lets them all loose. And that's kind of the Phoenix. I think in future movies to come, we'll definitely see a bit more of that. Yay. I mean, do you even know the original Dark Phoenix?
Are you asking me? Yes. You don't think after all this time you've told me
I mean,
that?
I know you know the storyline, but I know you haven't read the graphic novel.
No,
right?
I've seen it in the animated series.
Okay, well, no. You walked through as I watched the animated series. You actually sat there and actually watched it and get the full spectrum of it. But yes, take another stab at the Dark Phoenix Saga I would love, especially since X3 is one of the worst movies ever made. So... But this is kind of my conundrum. I wrote that blog last week about kind of the continuity questions I still have about X-Men. Because in X3, they had it to where the Phoenix Force was kind of like a multiple personality disorder for Jean Grey as a result of Xavier trying to limit her powers at a younger age. But of course, in the original source material, it's a space spirit or space entity that inhabits her body, and then causes her to kind of lose control or go insane. So do you think if they do it again, they're going to go more true to the storyline with the space spirit, or go back to the multiple personality disorder? Because even though we reset the timeline, we're still working in the same rules here.
I don't think that X-Men is going to go into Alien. I think they're going to stick... I mean,
Really?
so far in the films, they've been very earthbound.
Yeah.
So I don't see them deciding all of a sudden to bring an alien spirit into it, because they're all about... The movies are all about the human mutations. I mean, they go so much into the evolution, and that's what the X-Men films seem to be about.
I agree with you. They've definitely been, set in grounded kind of compared to something. But so was the Marvel Cinematic Universe until you got to Guardians of the Galaxies, where you ventured out into space and kind of opened up the possibilities a lot more.
Right, but Guardians of the Galaxy was a whole new set of characters. They didn't take the existing characters and move them into space.
But the X-Men are all about going into space, okay? Cyclops' dad is a space pirate.
In the comics.
Xavier's true love is a alien princess.
In the comics.
Anyway, if you want to expand the franchise, you have to expand onward.
I'm not saying they won't do it. I'm saying I don't think that they will. They haven't shown us any hint that they are planning on moving away from the Earth.
I think they will, because Bryan Singer even talked about how much he kind of wants to go that way too, especially given what, again, bouncing off the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing. They're venturing out into space. And then, like I said, with X-Men, they're known for time travel storylines, and they're known for space storylines, okay?
The comics.
I'm just saying.
I know.
They've done everything they can do on Earth, okay?
What? They've done everything they can do on Earth?
You've got Magneto, you introduced Apocalypse, okay? If you want to keep raising the stakes, you have to venture out into space.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm not making the movies. I'm just saying I don't think they will. And I think if they even have any thoughts about it, I think they're going to wait and see how Thor Ragnarok does. See how Marvel's journey into space with existing Earthbound characters.
They already did. Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was not existing characters. That was a whole new thing.
Matter about existing characters.
I don't think people still associate... Like, people know that Guardians of the Galaxy is a Marvel product, but people don't associate it with the other Marvel films, because there was no overlap. It was totally separate. Thanos has been like a tiny little peek at the end of... He's not really been in the Marvel universe yet, really. Like, he was this tiny... I'm telling you, if you go and ask the layperson in the world, like, the layperson, they don't even associate...
The what?
Like, lay people. Like, just regular people, not, like, super geeks.
It said lay people?
Lay people. That's what, like, regular people. It's a common term. I didn't make it up.
I'm not doubting you on that. I just, didn't know that term.
So, like, I think if you just go around and ask the general public, Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of held as a different thing. It's not... I don't think it's really associated yet with the Marvel films, because it's not the characters... They didn't take Iron Man and then, like, send him to space. But I think Thor Ragnarok is going to be the first time we really see... if it seems like that's what you're saying, you think that one's going to be. So I think that they might wait to see how that one does.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'm just saying my opinion. I just don't see X-Men going into
I totally
space.
get it. And you know what? You're right, because, as we've been rewatching the movies, they have tried to keep it very grounded.
It's very science-y. It's very earthbound. And they spend a lot of time emphasizing in X-Men how these are, like, it's human evolution, it's mutations. They are not attributing any of this stuff to, like, supernatural and to alien life forces.
I think if they truly want to make an X-Men cinematic universe like they're now trying to do with Deadpool and the Wolverine movies and all of that, to expand it to open themselves up, going into space would be the way to do it. Because there's so many characters such as the Starjammers and the Shi'ar Empire and all that would just, open the floodgates for so many more stories, more different stories, just how, like, Guardians of the Galaxy was, so different from, say, the other, cinematic Marvel movies. It can be very different as well. I said it last week too, while I was sitting here by myself talking to myself, Starjammers are Fox's version of Guardians of the Galaxy, just waiting to be made, and once they open it up to space, it's there for the taking.
I'm not saying it's not ever going to happen. I just have my doubts.
Okay, all right. Well, only time will tell. Time will tell on that. Okay, so you went ahead and mentioned Thor Ragnarok, so let's just go ahead and talk about that. Marvel has officially announced the cast of the upcoming film, which is set to come out November 13th, 2007. So Kate Blanchett was rumored to join the cast. We now know that she's going to be playing Helena, which is going to be the main villain in the film. This is going to be Marvel Cinematic Universe's first major female villain. Of course, we had Karen Gillan in Guardians of the Galaxy, but she was kind of a side villain, not the main villain. But Kate Blanchett is going to bring it for this role, it appears. Tessa Thompson is going to be playing Valkyrie. Now, for those of you who don't know, Valkyrie is another Asgardian superhero who has over the years served as a prominent member of teams like the Defenders and Secret Avengers. She's pretty much the female version of Thor, if you pretty much want to get right. I mean, she has the long blonde hair and everything.
So she's who I'm going to have to be for Halloween.
Probably, maybe. Well, I mean, you should just be female Thor. I mean, they have female Thor in the comics right now. Nora wants you to be Thor, so you can just be female Thor. That's fine, okay? But then they also added 2 other cast members. Jeff Goldblum is actually going to be playing, what's the guy's name? The Executioner, actually. He is an elder of the universe and cosmic being with a millennia of knowledge. My bad, he's not. Carl Urban is going to play the Executioner, otherwise known as Scourge. I read that wrong. See? That's what happens when I bounce around. He's a classic axe-wielding Asgardian villain. And then, of course, like I said, Goldblum is going to be playing the Grand Master, who is Elder of the Universe, cosmic being with a millennia worth of knowledge. And they think that this is going to help tie into the bigger Marvel world with Infinity War and Thanos and Guardians of the Galaxy. So we might possibly see Jeff Goldblum play other parts as well. Now, of course, we're going to get the old classic Thor characters back. Chris Hemsworth is going to be playing Thor, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Idris Elba as Heimdall, and Anthony Hopkins as Odin. However, absent from this announcement was the Warriors 3 and Lady Sif, who have appeared in the 2 previous Thor films, but are not among the announced cast. Again, this film comes out November 3rd, 2017, and of course another announcement that was confirmed, Mark Ruffalo will be appearing as the Hulk. Big, huge cast going on here. Just to give Kevin Feige a shout out, I quote, "The sheer raw talent each of these actors brings to the screen can't be quantified. Having any one of them join the Marvel Cinematic Universe would be an honor, and having them all is incredible."
So Loki's confirmed, because remember we hadn't heard anything about
of course.
Loki.
Yes, we hadn't heard anything. I mean, this is the first I've heard about any confirmation, but this comes straight from Marvel itself, saying that all these actors are indeed confirmed. What? That's a great cast.
Yeah, that's a great cast.
I mean,
I think they're really trying to bring it. I mean, the Thor movies, I think, of the Marvel movies have been the least recepted in general. I feel like
the first Thor movie people liked, but people didn't love it. Dark World.
Yeah, Dark World got selected. I mean, I love Thor.
It's one of my least favorites.
And mine too. It's one of my least favorites too. And as much as I love the original Thor, I feel like most people, Thor is not one of the ones that stands out to them.
Yeah.
So I think maybe they're just trying to kind of star power this up with the hopes that it'll have a better turnout based on that, and then they can. I mean, I'm sure they're going to deliver. It sounds like they're going to deliver, but you know what I mean? Just trying to entice people in because people haven't really been overly excited about the Thor films.
I mean, Kate Blanchett as the main villain in it. I mean, that just alone gets me, set. And then Carl Urban, love Carl Urban. Really wish they do a good sequel.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum, I got to tell you. Last night I sat down and Fox released a 5-minute preview of the new Independence Day movie coming out, Independence Day Resurgence, and I started to watch that, and about 2 minutes in, or 2.5 minutes in, I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm watching the entire damn movie. So I had to stop, because I'm like, I already am in questioning this film. If I watch this whole 5-minute thing, I feel like I'll see the whole movie, and I won't even go see it. So, just going off of Jeff Goldblum there. But great cast. This looks really exciting. I'm really curious what they're going to do. Because they've thrown all these, characters in here, and then you throw the Hulk in there on top of it.
Yeah, I know. I'm curious to see how the Hulk is going to interact with all those other characters.
Because all these characters are very much cosmic, godlike characters.
Yeah.
And then you throw kind of Hulk and maybe Thor, just, call them in for the backup. It'd be very interesting. I have a feeling that Carl Urban's going to have to do a shakedown with the Hulk at some point,
That'd be
being the
awesome.
classic axe-wielding villain that he is. So, but overall, another Marvel Cinematic movie that looks like it's going to be really cool. We'll have to wait and see. Go on from there. All right, guys. So moving on, just want to talk about some trailers.
Sure.
Do trailers. All right. So we'll start off with.
Are we going to talk about that Beauty and the Beast teaser?
No,
I know there's not really much to talk about it, but it looks awesome. I'm just saying.
Okay, yes, we can talk about that. I mean, this is kind of goes into what I'm talking about because we're going to talk about the Ghostbusters trailer and the Star Trek trailer. Going on with trailers in general, that Beauty and the Beast trailer, given the fact that the film doesn't come out for what 9 more months or something like that at least.
March, St. Patrick's Day.
It was a teaser trailer the way a teaser trailer should be done. You heard that classic Beauty and the Beast score, which is really what got me.
But like done in a whole different way, which I loved about it. It was very like natural and like. I mean, it was like a hint. It was like a hint of the original Disney Beauty and the Beast music.
The only real shot we got was Emma Watson,
just right at the end, like her eyes.
And Come to the Rose.
Yeah,
that's the only real shot we got. We got the little like scratch of the.
But
beast.
you heard her voice too when she came in and was like, "Hello." Like,
and you heard the other characters too
Lumiere
as well.
And Cogsworth, which I think it was Lumiere.
Yeah, exactly. But that one, that's gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm excited. The thing is, it's funny. So this is just speaking about how we talk about. I forget sometimes that not everybody talks about movies and comics and Star Wars and things the way we do.
Not everyone's married to me, so.
Right. And like, so I had a couple of things come up at work yesterday that I think were funny. So I was talking to one of my coworkers and they said, "Oh, did you see that there's going to be a Beauty and the Beast movie?" Because they saw the trailer come up in their newsfeed or something on Facebook. And they were like, "I don't know. I'm not really sure about all these classic things getting redone. I mean, that Snow White thing." And so they're talking about Snow White and the Huntsman.
Oh.
And so this is what I forget sometimes people who aren't like in tune with what's going on in Hollywood, that's what they think they're seeing classic fairy tales redone and they shoot back to Snow White and the Huntsman and they're like, that was crap. Why would I want to see more of these be done? Mm-hmm. And then the other thing she brought up was Maleficent. And I'm like, no. This is like Cinderella that they did recently. Yeah. And she was like, "Oh, I didn't even know they did that." And I'm like, So I feel like Disney, this teaser was great. And I think it's going to get the conversation started. So people like that, which is most people, can kind of start to realize this is going to be good. This isn't going to be like Snow White's and Snow White's and the Huntsman wasn't Disney.
Yeah.
But that just kind of made me realize that all the stuff that I hear about because of you and the things I listen to and watch and whatever because of you, but like I'm involved now, and the things that I know about it, I forget that not like the average person doesn't know that.
Of course.
It's like the same thing. I was talking to one of the families of one of my patients yesterday, and the mom was wearing an R2-D2 shirt. And my text tone on my phone is R2-D2. And while I was talking to them, you texted me. And so my phone did the R2-D2 thing in my pocket. And she said, "Oh, R2-D2." And so we started talking about Star Wars. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, we love Star Wars." We started talking, and I started talking about the books. They didn't even know there were new books.
No, really?
No idea. They were like, "Yeah, Force Awakens was really good." They had no idea that there was Rogue One movie coming out. So it's just like, you think about even people who would, like, you see out there wearing Star Wars merchandise and feeling like they're Star Wars fans.
They're not.
The level that they know.
Posers.
No, it's not posers.
Okay. It's just like, okay, I'll go back.
You can like something on face level without being a poser.
Okay. I'm sorry. But this is kind of my thing, too, where I see people out wearing, like, Batman t-shirts, okay? And I'm like, "Oh, you're a Batman fan." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a Batman fan." I'm like, "Cool. So, did you like the animated series?" Like, what animated series,
Yeah, but you don't have to be... You can like something without being, like, all in.
Yeah, but
that's unrealistic.
One thing that really upset me was the Dark Knight trilogy, where people were like, "I'm such a huge Batman fan." I'm like, "No, you're a Dark Knight trilogy fan. You don't know shit about Batman."
Doesn't mean you can't be a fan.
You can't be a fan, but call yourself a Dark Knight fan and not a Batman fan, okay? Whatever. I mean, anyone who has never read a Batman comic book in their entire life, I'm sorry, don't call yourself a Batman fan.
I think you're being unrealistic.
I think I'm being very realistic, okay? If you're gonna wear a t-shirt, like, okay, I have my Star Wars shirt on, okay? Why? Because I love Star Wars.
So you're saying that people can't wear Star Wars t-shirts or say they like Batman without liking everything and knowing every nuance?
Not everything, but I'm just saying they have to have at least a common knowledge of the characters?
I think you're being unrealistic. That's very Josh Griffey of you. I hope you're listening, Josh.
He's not listening. I very highly doubt he listens to this. If he does, I'm sure he's laughing his ass off about this. But all right. So anyway, trailers.
Go ahead.
Okay, Beauty and the Beast trailer. Of course,
Yes.
that was nice. So going to Sony, they released a new domestic and international trailer for their upcoming Ghostbusters movie that comes out July 15th, 2016. Now, this one gave us a good peek at the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, as well as the classic character Slimer. Now, the international trailer was shorter than the domestic trailer, and was kind of dramatically different, and also offered us kind of a better look at the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. In the domestic trailer, he kind of had his face burnt or whatever, or something, but in the international trailer, his face was whole. The film comes out, like I said, July 15th, directed by Paul Feig, stars Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, and Chris Hemsworth. Lisa, I showed you both the domestic and the international trailer. Which one did you like better?
The international trailer was way better. The domestic one just gave too much away.
Yeah, it was like, like I said, it was 20, 25 seconds longer.
Yeah, I mean, and it revealed key plot points.
Exactly.
Like, it basically told you the story.
Uh-huh.
Like, the international one, I feel like, was better. I liked it better than any other ones I've seen. I think it had a right amount of humor. It kind of showed you a little bit more of their relationship.
Again, it didn't give you too much.
But it didn't give anything away. It made me want to see it.
Uh-huh. It was the first trailer that made me want to see the movie.
Exactly, me too. It was the first one that made me want to see it without giving away the story plot. And then we watched the domestic one, and that one gave away the story. Like, I really feel like I know now what the plot is.
Know exactly what's going to happen.
I mean, I don't know how it's going to end, but I know the plot now. And I'm like, man, I didn't want to know
basically,
that.
you could walk into the movie with a half hour left, and you'll be like,
and
okay.
Be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's just kind of my problem. It's just, they haven't enticed me enough for this film. The first trailer, and that's the thing, because you've had two domestic trailers and two international trailers, and the international trailers, both of them, I wish those are the only ones I would have seen, because the domestic trailers have just kind of ruined it, in my opinion. Just mainly because, again, they don't show that much. And going back to, again, Beauty and the Beast, it was a teaser. Some people need to redefine the definition of a teaser trailer, because while people, I've heard yesterday, wanted more out of the Beauty and Beast trailer, they're glad they didn't get more too. Because A, the film is so far away, and B, they feel like trailers, again, reveal too much nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, in Beauty and the Beast, we already know the story.
Yeah.
So I hope they don't release, like, it's like the ones when you already know the story, like when when it's based on a book. You don't need to give us the whole freaking story in the trailer. We've seen the book. We've read the book. We know how it ends.
No, they haven't.
Well, people like me have. So just show us a tease. Just make me want to see it.
Exactly.
People do too read.
They do read, yes.
Yeah.
They read comic books, yes. Not real books, but comic
Not
books.
real books.
All right, so bouncing off onto the other trailer, Paramount has released the second trailer for Star Trek Beyond. Came out Friday night. In this, we get a better look at the villain of the film, Crawl, played by Idris Elba, as well as the other new character, played by Sofia Boutella. She's an alien known as Jayla. I think that's how you say it.
That was Idris Elba?
Yeah.
With all the makeup?
Yeah.
I had no idea that was him.
That was him, yeah, exactly. So, also in the trailer, we got a quiet introspective of Kirk as kind of he ponders his identity and his father's legacy with all that stuff. The film comes out July 22nd, which is, the week after Ghostbusters. How about that? Also, you got returning, Chris Pine, Simon Pegg, Zachary Quinto. What's the girl's name? Zoe Saldana. Yes, all the cast is back as well. Now, it was also announced that on San Diego Comic-Con, 2 days before the film comes out, July 20th, at Comic-Con, they're going to show the movie in an outside-out IMAX screen, accompanied by the San Diego Symphony Orchestra as well,
cool.
As well as the cast and crew are going to be there too. So that's kind of a very cool event that would be awesome to attend, but we're not going to Comic-Con, so oh well. All right, so this second trailer, people kind of criticized the first trailer, and this one definitely had a different serious tone to it, which I rather enjoyed. I know you probably enjoyed it too, right?
Yeah, I mean, this definitely, the first trailer I was not impressed with.
And that's kind of with the first trailer, it's kind of people's complaints. I mean, people who have been Star Trek fans for a really long time are kind of upset that J.J. Abrams has kind of taken this franchise and made it more accessible to a general audience as far as injecting a lot more action and humor and, I guess you could say making it a little more cookie cutter so that people that aren't Star Trek fans enjoy it, which I'll say that. Growing up, I wasn't a big Star Trek fan. My dad liked Star Trek, so I watched it. I watched all the movies. I try to watch the TV series. I just can't get into them because they're so damn boring. Not one lightsaber in the whole thing, so whatever. But then, of course, the new Star Trek franchise comes around, starring Chris Pine. And I love that movie. I could literally watch that movie all the time.
Yeah, the first one, I love the first one. The second one was okay.
I liked it still. I
liked it,
I know people are, complaining, it's just a rehash of Khan. And
well, I'd never seen Khan, the original Khan. So for me, it just is like a whole new thing. But, I didn't love it. I liked it, but I loved the first one. I could watch the first one.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to going back and rewatching them before we go see the new one, of course. Because, we rewatched, the Captain America movies. We rewatched the X-Men movies. I'm probably going to watch Ninja Turtles since I'll probably go see the movie. And then, of course, I got to rewatch the Ghostbusters movies and then Jason Bourne. There's a lot of sequels coming out, so I got to rewatch a lot of stuff this summer. Luckily, TV shows are on hiatus, so I'll have the time to do that. But yeah, so the first two movies were good. This trailer made me actually excited to go see this film. The last one did not make me excited to go see it. A lot of people worried about it. I think this one kind of sets more people's mind at ease as well. And also, it's a little different where it looks like it takes them off of the ship. The ship is pretty much gets totaled, so now it's not about how these people function on the ship. It's how they function in this hostile planet as individuals or as a team as well. So, and that should be interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm not super excited for it. Like I said, I didn't love the last one, and the first trailer. I'm just tired of all these trailers now that are just like some song from the 90s blaring loudly and actiony things happening in the background.
I get it.
It's like the trailers have become so cookie cutter in that respect. I'm annoyed with trailers like that.
I get it. Although I got it kind of a little slack because it was a Beastie Boys trailer, which Beastie Boys is featured in, the first two Star Trek movies from J.J. Abrams. So you got them a little slack, but they shouldn't. Putting a Beastie Boys song in the film is different than putting it in the trailer. I think if you put that song in the trailer, you're setting the tone for the film as opposed to just put it in there for effect in the scene. But yeah, but this trailer looked fine. I'm hoping maybe one more beforehand just to kind of solidify people's desire to go see the film. Perhaps.
I don't think we need another trailer.
I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't be upset if we didn't get another trailer, but I think they still need to rebound from that last trailer.
Okay.
Oh well. Just my opinion. But, okay. So speaking of Paramount, one of your favorite things, Paramount Pictures announced on Instagram last week the official title for the fifth Transformers film. It's going to be titled Transformers: The Last Night. Now, back in February, it was announced that Paramount is preparing 3 more Transformers sequels, one to be released a year after each other, starting on June 23rd, 2017, which is when The Last Night will come out. Mark Wahlberg is set to reprise his role as Cade Yeager from his previous role in Age of Extinction. I know you're so happy about it, of course.
I literally couldn't care any less about this.
The last Transformers movie was so bad. There's so many people upset about this franchise and where it's gone and the fact that Michael Bay is still returning, and it's just in shambles. But the thing is, it's still making money, especially in an international market.
I know, I can't understand.
International.
The first one was so good. I really loved the first Transformers. It was so well done. Just the right amount of humor, just the right amount of action, just the right amount of story, heart. It was good. The second one, I was like, and then from then it's been like, no more.
Yeah. After that last one, it was just crap. It was complete and utter crap. The second one I did not like. The third one I did like. I'll give the third one some
Yeah,
credit.
I mean, the third one was better than the second. The second one was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
The second one was terrible. The thing I hate about the second one is they took all the things that were funny about the first one
exactly.
and then amplified them.
And it just made it horrible.
Exactly. And that's what they do a lot of times with those sequels that make them so bad.
That's why comedy sequels never work. Because they take all the jokes that worked in the first one and they overdo it. And that's what they did in Transformers 2. They took all the parts that were funny in the first one and made them stupid.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then the fourth one was just plain stupid at all. I mean, I'm sorry, trying to make Mark Wahlberg an inventor, and he has like glasses to like make him look smarter when he's got these bulging biceps. I'm like, excuse me.
Hey, are you implying that inventors are all dorky?
I'm just saying this. Okay, we know Mark Wahlberg.
What are you trying to imply?
I'm just trying to say, as a guy who's supposed to be a really good inventor, he sure looks like he works out a lot.
Well, if he works for himself, maybe he has time to work out a lot.
Oh, right.
Judgy Judgerson.
Whatever. I'm just saying. I didn't buy him as an inventor, nor will I buy him in this sequel as well. But you know what? He's making money. I mean, the only thing I always like to joke about is like the girl that played his daughter. I'm like, oh yeah, you know he tapped that on set.
Oh God, he's married with like a bunch of kids.
Whatever. I'm just saying.
I think he has like 5 kids or something.
Whatever. He's a movie star.
Anyway,
so yes, Transformers: The Last Night. What do you think the title means? The Last Night.
I honestly
people think it refers to Optimus Prime, be like, you know, the last of his kind or something along those lines. But you know,
I don't care.
I mean, he does like to wield a sword and a shield, so that would fit, I believe. But you just look totally disinterested right now.
I literally
totally disinterested.
do not care.
Okay, all right.
About
So let's jump off of one thing you could care less about to another thing you could care less about. Okay, Kevin Smith went online, talked to Hollywood Babylon about possibly doing a Buckaroo Banzai TV show for MGM. He said, quote, he pitched them an idea. Basically, you just do the entire movie for season 1. Then season 2, you finally do the sequel we've dreamed of. The 1984 film, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, was about a character who is a man of many talents. His careers include physicist, neurosurgeon, test pilot, rock musician, and among other things. Along his trusty side is the Hong Kong Cavaliers as they defend Earth by battling a race of interdimensional aliens called Red Lectroids after one of them arrives on the planet thanks to Buckaroo's jet car experiment. Could be interesting.
Okay, it's not that I don't care about the story. Until like 2 minutes ago, I didn't know what this Buckaroo Banzai was.
See, and you should have done your research.
And the trailer that you showed me for the 84 film.
I showed her the trailer,
oh
yes.
My God. If you have not seen this trailer, go watch it. It's terrible.
Okay. So, that part where they're walking, like they're all coming together and walking, okay? That's like the end title sequence or whatever. And I swear to God, I could watch that thing all day, every day. Because the music, it just gets you, you know? It gets you in there.
It didn't get me at all.
Okay, well...
To me, it looked like a horrible 80s movie.
The original Buckaroo Banzai film, I grew up on. My dad being a huge sci-fi fan, whether it be good or bad sci-fi, I watched it a couple times, and it's really far out there and really different. And with that kind of wit and humor and weirdness that it has to it, it's something I think Kevin Smith could definitely pull off very well. Given, of course, making it a series, I'm all about it, especially in this day and age when people are becoming more accepting of the sci-fi and fantasy genre. I mean, superheroes are becoming, mainstream. Star Trek's becoming, more mainstream. This could be something that could be good if done right and carefully, and I think Kevin Smith would be a good person to do it. So
I don't disagree with that.
I mean, just so far out there, but yeah. All right, so she's got nothing to add, so let's move on to another thing she has nothing to add to. Chris Carter has talked to Deadline about doing possibly more X-Files seasons. In January, we got the revival of the series starring David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson. And Carter says that they're still in talks with Fox about doing more seasons. The 6-episode miniseries had kind of mixed reactions with critics, but was a ratings hit for Fox. So in that regard, they're looking to do more of them. We'll just have to wait and see what happens there. Have you ever watched X-Files at all?
No.
Okay. Again, X-Files is one of those things where, kind of like Star Trek, when I was younger, I didn't care about. Growing up, I've kind of got a better appreciation for it. I went and actually watched the miniseries that came out in January, or at least I attempted to. Kind of like when I try to go back and try to watch a Star Trek series, by the second episode I'm bored. So no lightsabers. You lost me already right there. Okay? So yeah. So while I'm not excited for it, it's just, people tend to love the X-Files.
I know, it definitely has a cult following.
It has a big cult following. I don't get why, because the whole time they're hunting aliens and monsters, and you never see any aliens or monsters. I did like the miniseries. By the second episode, David Duchovny, Fox Mulder, was doing his whole speech about how the plot of this is all about conspiracy that goes back many years, involves many people, and I'm just like, dude, you just sound like a nutball. And I'm like, by the second episode, I still hadn't seen anything, It was like, why? I don't get it. I just don't get it. But people like it, so if they want to make more of them and people watch them, whatever. I don't think I'll give it ever a chance again. So, cool. All right, so moving on to more stuff you probably don't care too much about. Nintendo has been talking that they might actually be open to the idea of doing more films based off their video games. Now, in 1993, they came out with the Super Mario Brothers, starring Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, which was a colossal failure. Took in $20 million off a $48 million budget, and since then, Nintendo has kind of been iffy about letting their properties be made into movies. Now, in recent years, they lent out some of their characters, such as Bowser was in Disney's Wreck-It Ralph, and then last year, in Sony's Pixels, it featured Donkey Kong, Mario, and the Duck Hunt dog also appearing in that as well. So, one of the CEOs of Nintendo, I'm going to say this wrong.
Don't even try.
Tatsumi Kishima. Is that right?
Kimishima.
Something like that. Anyway, he was talking about how he'd like to get their films back on board and possibly do them in an animated style similar to what Disney and Pixar are. He said, quote, "We've done that live action before, so probably not a live action one. Because we have IPs, we're thinking we could also do something like Disney and Pixar. It is something to keep in mind as we make all this concrete. I cannot definitely say this year, and we're currently in talks. If funds flow in this year, I'd say I'd like to put the money to use, and I'm not saying I'd like to use it in 5 years in the future, just soon." So when he refers to funds, I guess he's talking, which I didn't even know about, that Nintendo is this majority stakeholder in the Seattle Mariners baseball team as well. And they're looking to sell the baseball team too.
Wow.
Now, as far as Nintendo properties go, there was a rumor going around a while ago that Netflix was possibly going to make a Legend of Zelda TV series, although Nintendo has gone on to deny such rumors. So, might be getting more Nintendo properties coming up, especially given that the video game franchise is trying to make a comeback. Warcraft comes out this summer, just a few weeks from now, I think, if I remember correctly. And then coming out in December, you got Assassin's Creed starring Michael Fassbender. So, aside from Mario Kart, what film would you want to see from Nintendo?
I'm not a big gamer. I think if they're looking for one that's gonna do best, I think Zelda's the way to
Zelda.
go.
People have been hammering for a Zelda movie for so long.
Zelda has such a huge following of people who love it, and it actually seems to have a story.
It does. Yeah.
I mean, I've never played Zelda, so I'm not a gamer. I suck ass at games, except for Mario Kart.
Exactly.
It's the only one I'm good at. And Tetris. So.
Well, they're coming out with a Tetris movie.
What?
Yeah. Yo, you didn't hear this? Oh,
what?
They're coming out like a Tetris trilogy.
How does it even? I don't understand.
I don't know, but John Schnepp on Collider was like, "This is the worst idea ever."
How in the world do you do a movie about Tetris?
I don't know how you do a movie about Angry Birds or Legos.
I guess those were Legos was cute. Anyway, I don't know. I think Zelda's probably the way to go if they want to really get off on the right foot.
No. Yeah, I think it's a good way to start off, given that it's a famous property, again, something that already has a storyline to it, something with established characters that could really work well, and then from there they could bounce off into other stuff, like maybe another Mario Brothers movie, maybe some Ninja Gaiden, or Contra. Ooh, Contra was good. I like Contra. That would have been awesome. But yeah, so bouncing off, I mean, all these video game movies, might as well Nintendo get their, butts in the game and see what they can do.
As long as it doesn't turn out like that original Super Mario.
Oh my god, no, I got a worse film for you than that, was the original Double Dragon film. Had Scott Wolf and Alyssa Milano and Robert Patrick. And when I was a kid, I liked it. Now I look back and it's a horrible, horrible film. Really bad film actually, but Of course, I was a kid. I didn't know any better. But yeah, hopefully they can make some better movies coming around. So, all right, so let's jump off into something that we hope is going to be better as well. Warner Brothers is reporting that they're appointing executives John Berg and DC Entertainment CCO Jeff Johns in charge of the DC film division. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the move is part of a broader refinement of executive roles at Warner Brothers, which has suffered a disappointing run of movies and has vexed producers and filmmakers, some of whom complain about the murky greenlit process. So this is coming up as well. News that Ben Affleck is going to be the executive producer of the upcoming Justice League film, as well as the firing of director Seth Grahame-Smith from The Flash, and then, of course, some reshoots that were done on the Suicide Squad to, quote, smooth out the third act. Now, in speaking with Jeff Johns discussing the future of the DC brand, he said he believes to be more hope and optimistic. Quote, there's a lot of emotional underpinning of the characters and the stories. It's not that people take it for granted, they're just not aware of it. But when it's not there, you really feel the emptiness. I think people have made this mistake when they say Superman's not relatable because he's so powerful. John says, I'm like, are you kidding? He's a farm boy from Kansas who moves to the city and just wants to do the best he can with what he's got. That's the most relatable character in the world. So, there you go. So
I think this is exactly what they need to do. The biggest problem that the DC universe has is that they did not get someone like Feige right at the beginning to create the creative vision, to set the creative vision. They decided to make a movie. The person who was making that movie set the tone.
Well, they were thinking more individual films rather than the broad spectrum.
Right, exactly. And that's just not... They needed to have somebody at the beginning who had, like, the grand plan in mind.
So it's said that Berg and Johns are pretty much going to be the Feige of these films.
But it's almost, I think, a little too late.
You don't know. I mean, I'm hearing good things about Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but that one is supposed to be dark.
But no, I mean... I was going to say, you're hearing good things about Suicide Squad, but then again, you know, Warner Brothers executive gave Batman v Superman a standing ovation. Maybe they saw the 3-hour cut that we didn't get to see, but I was more like my head down, like, you know, cursing, really, when I saw the film. But anyway, it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. I don't know much about John Berg, but I've been reading Jeff Johns comics for many, many years now. You know, he's one of my favorite writers. So he's been a producer on a lot of the films. He was a producer on Green Lantern, Batman v Superman, all the DC films, but he hasn't been the main guy. I think this puts him in more of a position where he can start calling the shots, and I'm totally down with it. This is the guy who came back and made Green Lantern great, made Flash great again, and turned Aquaman from a joke into a power hitter in DC Comics. I think he's the perfect guy to make these characters, like you said, more relatable. Just, you know, his comments on Superman. Exactly how I feel about him, you know? Superman is totally relatable, much more than Batman.
Yeah.
Josh and I get into this fight all the time at work, where he's like, oh, Superman is so powerful. I'm like, as relatable as a rich billionaire who lost his parents. I mean, come on. But that's just my point of view. The only thing I said, the thing I don't like about this is the fact that Johns, because of this, is now going to be writing less comic books, which I enjoy his comic books. So I'm a little disappointed about that. But with this new team in place, do you think they're gonna get better?
I hope so.
Do you think it's going to affect Justice League quite a bit?
Yeah, I think it will. I think Justice League is going to move away from that whole green tinged, you know, Zack Snyder feel.
Yeah, let's hope. Well, it's still directed by Zack Snyder.
Still.
It's still going to be a Zack Snyder film as of right now.
Well, hopefully, I mean, if they're going to learn anything from the negative feedback they've gotten so far on the Zack Snyder stuff, they're going to have to rein him in a little bit.
Well, here's what I'm thinking too is, again, I'll say this again. Yeah, I didn't like Batman v Superman, but I am so damn curious to see what that 3-hour cut is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like what was missing from that film was a lot of the small character moments to help set up those bigger action moments as well. And I feel like that's what we missed out in Batman v Superman, the motivation behind characters doing stuff. So when I see that, then I'll get a better idea of like, oh yeah, Zack Snyder blew it, or oh, Zack Snyder was just handcuffed by the Warner Brothers executives.
But even that doesn't fix, I don't know. I just feel like Zack Snyder has a very a very specific look and feel about his films. And I have felt from the very beginning that they did not fit in the superhero world. I mean, I've never liked a Zack Snyder film.
That's true.
And I think there's a lot of people out there who just don't, that his films just aren't appealing. The look, the feel, the tone, I mean, I can't stand, there's like no real color in it. They're all like washed out. It's just like a weird, it's very...
They're dark and dreary.
They are. It's very stylistic, and I can see where in his films he's done before, it's worked. Not for me. I still don't like them. But I can see how it worked in those settings. I just don't think his look and feel works in the DC, especially in a Superman movie. Maybe for Batman.
That's what I say. Like, okay, you got to think of Batman v Superman. People are so happy the way Batman was done in Batman v Superman. Well, that's because that's Zack Snyder's style.
Yeah,
dark
exactly.
And dreary.
It just doesn't work for Superman.
But Superman, that's not Superman's style.
No, it's not.
So that's why Superman didn't work in the film.
It did not. And that's why I didn't really like Man of Steel very much. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it like you hate it. But I didn't love it. And I wanted to love it. And I wanted to like Batman v Superman. But there's just no... And I mean, I like that, you know, in his quote here, you know, he was saying that he thinks that it needs more hope and optimism. And I think that that's true. Superman is all about freaking hope.
Yeah.
And these movies have no hope. It's just like spiraling downward to more horrible. Every time you turn around, it's more horrible. Pass.
Okay. I can get into more about Batman v Superman, but I think we're going to hold off from there. We'll jump over to another DC property. According to Warner Brothers, they are reportedly contemplating a spin-off film where Margot Robbie, playing Harley Quinn, is going to be the female-driven character with other female heroes and villains. According to the Hollywood Reporter, they've learned that Robbie has actually pitched Warner Brothers a film which is going to be a spin-off of the Suicide Squad, where Harley Quinn is going to be along with a bunch of other DC female characters. Now, this all comes from Robbie doing her research on the Harley Quinn character and basically falling in love with the female characters of the DC universe, which she quickly brought on a female writer to help develop an ensemble film of DC female characters as well. Now, over at Warner Brothers, there's a rumor as well they're possibly trying to get a Batgirl and Birds of Prey film going. Whether that'll fit into it, not quite sure as well. But this seems like something that Warner Brothers is interested in. So again, that goes to the fact that they might actually be very happy with what Suicide Squad looks like, and might be willing to move forward with Robbie as Harley Quinn, not being a solo film, but again, just something that features her with a bunch of other female superheroes and supervillains as well. We'll just have to wait and see, because Suicide Squad comes out August 5th, and it's going to be the third film from the DC Cinematic Universe. The other two were met with mixed and murky reactions. If Suicide Squad delivers, I can see it, greenlighting this project, but we'll just have to wait and see on it.
Yeah, I just think it's a little premature to... we'll have to see how people not just how people like Suicide Squad as a whole, but how people react to Margot Robbie, particularly as Harley Quinn. I mean, she's one of those characters that does have a cult following.
She's a villain. That's a problem, You can't have the villain as the star, I think.
Well, no, I don't think... That's not my problem with it. I just think... I think Harley Quinn has a very specific group of people who love her.
True.
And I think she's going to have a lot to live up to win those people over.
From what I've seen in the trailers, I think she's going to do a fine job.
I think she'll be fine, too.
I mean, she's a very talented actress, so when I heard that she was taking the role, given the fact that I saw her in Wolf of Wall Street, and I think she really shined in that Z for Zachariah, which was, a very small film. If you haven't seen that movie, it's her, Chris Pine, and Chiwetel Ejiofor, and those are the only three actors in the entire movie. It's like a post-apocalyptic film about her and them and trying to survive, and kind of a love triangle-ish as well. But she did great in that film along with the other two actors in it. And again, giving that range shows me that she's a talented actress that can do really whatever she wants. And I'm looking forward to her as Harley Quinn based on what I've seen in the trailers. I think she nails it. Like I said before, I'm very much looking forward to this film more than I was Batman v Superman, if nothing other than the fact that David Ayer is directing it, and I think he is a superb director over Zack Snyder. So as long as, WB doesn't murk too much with what Ayer did or wanted to do, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
But yeah, I think showing that girl power, of course, I think that's something that we've hinted at earlier. If you go to Target and go to the toy section, you have all those DC girl toys now. You got the dolls, there's action figures, there's capes, all that stuff. I thought about getting Nora a Supergirl action figure too. Thought about getting her that. I think she likes that too.
Captain America.
Well, that's true. I know she's all about
loves Captain
America.
America.
But you know, she kind of likes Superman too.
She does, but she loves Captain
She loves
America.
Captain America. I know.
She asked the dentist today for a Captain America toothbrush.
Oh, really? She did?
They didn't have any. She was bummed.
Well, we'll have to go get her one maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She just got a My Little Pony one.
I know, but she asked for a Captain America toothbrush.
Okay. All right. Fair enough, I guess. But yeah, it's like DC. I think this is DC's trying to grab that market of, the female audience with, Harley Quinn, Batgirl, Birds of Prey, stuff like that. Whether it'll work or whether it won't work, we'll just wait and see.
Do you think that they're doing this? And this is, I'm going to stereotype women here, but as a woman, I think I can. I feel like in the Marvel universe, those films, and some people who don't like about them is that they're, very light. They're, they have action, they have darkness, but they have a lot of humor, they have a lot of love, they have a lot of heart in them. And I think that they appeal to men and women equally, as well as to children. Everybody can enjoy a Marvel film. With the DC films, I think, thus far, being so dark and gritty, I think that they are capturing the men more than they're capturing women.
Yeah.
That could be me just making shit up. But that's my impression of it, is that their target audience, based on what we're seeing, is men. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, they put in some women with big boobs and whatever, but I don't think it's for men. It's for men. It's all for men, is my view. So I feel like this is kind of like DC's play to like get some women to want to watch their movies.
I gotcha. So, I don't know, how we always get back to the Batman v Superman bashing, I truly do not try to do this, but with Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman, it's people are like, oh yeah, Wonder Woman was nuts, she was good, and I'm just like,
she didn't do much.
I'm like, were you just happy that Wonder Woman was in it, or do you actually feel like what you saw of her was good,
I mean, what we saw of her wasn't bad. We just didn't see very much.
We didn't see very much to get, and exactly, you didn't get much to get. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get people are happy to see, Wonder Woman, the most famous, superhero female on screen, but I'm like, I feel like people are more happy just to see her on screen rather than actually saying that, she did a good job. Which I'm not saying she did a bad job, but again, we didn't see enough of her to say whether it's good or bad yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we're have to wait for the Wonder Woman movie for that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so last thing, just a little thing. I'm not sure how much you'll be able to comment on it, although it does in regard, one of your favorite actresses, I guess. Carrie-Anne Moss, from her role on Jessica Jones, is set to reprise her role as Jareth Hogarth in Netflix's upcoming Iron Fist series. According to Marvel.com, Hogarth will help Daniel Rand readjust to life in New York after he went missing many years. Head of Marvel Television Jeff Loeb said, quote, Carrie-Anne Moss has fast become a fan favorite of our street-level saga, and we share our viewers' excitement in bringing her into Marvel's Iron Fist. Daniel Rand lives in this high stratosphere of New York's business society, and he's going to need a ruthless lawyer to help him navigate the alien world. Scott Buck is going to be the showrunner for this series. He's worked on series such as 6 Feet Under and Dexter. This is going to be another series in the Marvel Cinematic Universe Netflix genre. We had Daredevil, we had Jessica Jones. Coming out in September, we have Luke Cage, and then we'll get Iron Fist, which are all going to come together later on for a Defenders series. Now, Kristen Ritter, Jessica Jones herself, has said in an interview as well that she is currently shooting season 2 of Jessica Jones and The Defenders back to back as well. So that's kind of interesting to hear. For those who don't know, Iron Fist is about a billionaire who comes back after being missing for many years and fights the criminal element corrupting New York City with his incredible kung fu mastery and ability to summon the awesome power of the fiery Iron Fist. Carrie-Anne Moss.
I mean, I have only ever seen her, I'm pretty sure, in The Matrix. Granted,
Really?
The Matrix is one of my favorite movies of all time, and she kicked ass in that movie, and she's pretty much a badass. Mm-hmm. So, I guess I don't watch those Netflix shows with you.
So, yesterday I got in a conversation about that with some of my coworkers about, more adult characters such as like Spawn, and I recommended them checking out the Netflix series. And I actually got Peter to say he was going to go home and watch Jessica Jones. because I told them there was, the main hero, liked to have sex and drink a lot. So I think that's kind of what got him enticed to go watch it as well. And I said, yeah, Daredevil season 1 was pretty good. Daredevil season 2 is phenomenal. And then Jessica Jones, while I don't think it's my cup of tea, as a show itself is really good television. Really good television. So my request of you...
No.
Jessica Jones.
No.
Just go watch Jessica Jones.
I don't have time for that shit.
It's 13 episodes. It's summer, okay? Free time is coming up.
I don't know what that means.
Well,
What do I do during the year that ends in the summer?
I'm curious what you do. I'm not sure exactly. Okay, just try to watch, because I know you'll like. I'm not asking you to watch Daredevil. Just try out Jessica Jones. This is one of the shows if Teresa. If you're listening, Teresa, and you haven't watched Jessica Jones, check it out. I'm not going to ask you to watch Daredevil. Watch Jessica Jones, okay? It's very, I feel that like the show is all about the female empowerment and stuff like that as well. Mm-hmm. So I think you would like it. At least check out the first episode. If you're not into it after the first episode, you can say, I'm not into it, and I'll be okay, fine. All right?
I'm not making any promises.
She never does. All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. If you have any questions or comments or anything more to add, hit us up online, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. You can find me at slimdayspring12 on Instagram and Twitter. Also, hit us up on our Facebook group and also on our Twitter account as well. We're everywhere. You can find us wherever. Not a problem there. But that's about it. Anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
That's it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Look, are you ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, she's ready to get on with the day. We got Aaron still on, guys. All right, so that is going to be it for us today. Join us next week when hopefully we'll have a whole new bunch of topics. But I'm pretty sure we're going to spend the whole time talking about X-Men Apocalypse. Usually what happens.
Sounds about right.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, until next time, I say same bat time, same bat channel.